Welcome. Thank you for coming to practice. So, those of you who have practiced with me for a while may have noticed that there's a seasonal aspect to my practices. And that is that in the warmer months, the longer days, the warmer days, it's more about not necessarily putting a lid on that wonderful summertime energy, but consolidating it just a little bit more, giving it a bit of a foundation. And in the winter months, kind of where we are right now, it's more about inviting that energy to appear, but also from a bit of a foundation. So along the way today, a couple things are going to come in handy, and that is strap. I've got an elastic band here, and it's just a regular old yoga strap, towel, belt, bathrobe tie. That'll work as well. So with that idea that we're in the winter months and we're gonna try to invite some more energy, a little bit more working with strength. So let's get started and start standing if you aren't already there. And perhaps I should take just a little bit of a side trip here. And you may have noticed I have the chair way up front this time. And just know that when you're using the chair, there's always an invitation to do so, that grabbing the sides of the chair is probably going to be more useful than hands on the flat on the chair. And in that situation, cat pose, cow pose would look something like this. And downward facing dog would look something like this. And even that kneeling plank pose, you could come forward a bit as far as you wish. So that's the use of the chair. We'll just set that aside for now and know that if you have one, if you need one, you're free to take a break and go get one and use it as an alternative. But let's start standing. So standing in an ordinary way. I'm going to go sideways so you can see this movement a little better. It's left hand on your abdomen below your navel and right hand on your sacrum behind. And then it's just tipping hips forward and back. And along the way, noticing that this invites knees to mobilize and slightly fold forward. And of course, it invites hips to mobilize. So tipping, finding end range of motion so that you can find middle ground, neither forward nor back. And then it's taking the thumb and index finger of your right hand, hooking it under your collarbone. And with this hand stabilizing your hips, lifting collarbones up, and then taking that same right hand and lightly tipping your head forward, just 1/4 of an inch or so. Both hands coming down. Standing for just a moment, enjoying this sense perhaps of a little bit more foundation. Well, something a little different, something we haven't done for a while. I'm going to turn back forward, and that is lifting your toes. Remember the stadium wave? And letting little toes come to the floor and waving all the way down to big toe. And sometimes it actually helps to do the same movement with your fingers. So from that little bit of foundation we've already invited, then this toe wave to bring some awareness to your forefoot. And with that awareness in your forefoot, now just resting pads of the toes on the floor. With that awareness in forefoot, bringing a little more support to your forefoot. 60% support in the forefoot, 37% in the heels. Yeah, 3% unaccounted for. Yeah, those of you who know research, there's always something unaccounted for, isn't there? Pretty much. All right. On an inhale, then lifting your heels. And exhale, coming on down. Yeah. Firming up that foundation. And of course, you're free to reorient the position of your feet and legs. Maybe toes pointing out a little bit more, or one out, one straight forward. Really finding a foundation. And we'll add the arm lift. So it's heels up, arms up on the inhale, coming down, exhale. Yep. Inviting that energy to be a bit more present. Next time arms are down, heels are down. Keeping your heels down will bring both arms up. And then both arms rotating, elbows forward. And now rather than just one arm up to tip, how about both arms up, tipping to the right? And perhaps a turn of your head to look at that right shoulder. Inhale, coming back up. We'll do the same thing the other side. And turning to look at now the left shoulder. And coming right on back up. And sweeping those arms on down. Arms coming down for a moment. So, going to be quite a bit of shoulder, upper back, arm engagement in this practice. Just know that if you have shoulder limitations, obey your own wisdom. Use your own judgment, and I will trust that you're not going to make the movements too big. Making movements smaller is always an option, or making them in a slightly different angle is as well. With that said, let's bring hands to shoulders, elbows out to the side, and we'll do some shoulder circles. So shoulders circling forward and back. Yeah. And then a little bit more challenge would be one going forward, one going back. And then perhaps switching that role, the other one going forward and back. Yeah. Moment of truth, checking in with your foundation. Yeah. How those feet feel on the floor. Pretty much secured. All right. And then it's just bringing those arms down to the side and rotating them so that elbows are facing in. If arms came to your sides, elbows would be touching your side. Palms to the ceiling. See if you can keep that arm rotation as you turn your palms over. And then begin to flex your wrist as if hands were flying and beginning to lift arms up to shoulder height. If there's any tingling in your hand that is persistent, perhaps not quite so much movement or stopping the movement. A little tingling in the index finger is common and an indication you may be doing it right. And then with arms out to the side, like you were stopping traffic, wrists flexed, bringing fingertips together overhead and back out to the side. And now perhaps a little bit of sensation in ring finger, little finger. So what we're really doing here is unwinding fascia that may be a little bit sticky in the forearms. Next time, arms come out to the side. Just bringing palms to the floor and fingertips together in front. In and out a few times. All right. Next time, arms come out to the side, finding them in a goal post position. And then tipping that goalpost back and forward. And perhaps along the way, you've noticed that when goalpost tips back, hips want to come forward. Remember that movement we did right away in the beginning? Mobilizing knees slightly forward, hips slightly back. Stabilizes your hips, invites a more honest movement, engagement in upper back. Let's not overdo it. Hands coming to, oh, feels good to stop. All right. So from here, just an inhale to sweep up and then exhale to fold. Bit of a lift, inhale, upside down. Exhale and we'll sweep right back on up. So here we're going to head for the floor, cat pose, cow pose, and a dog pose. So of course, chair is an option. For those of us heading for the floor, sweeping up, folding, bit of a lift, inhale, upside down, exhale, coming to hands and knees. Remember that hip tipping? Same thing right here. Lower back arching to the floor, hips tipping forward. Inviting a lift, torso, neck, and head. Hips tipping back. Rounding, looking upside down. So using that movement in your hips and perhaps even a little bit of core strength engagement, especially when you tip hips back. Exhale, rounding, cat pose. Inhale, lifting, cow pose. All right. And then it's coming to hands and knees and bringing knees back quite a ways. And if you're standing at the chair, it would be feet coming back. Feet coming back so that seat can come back either over your feet or over your heels. Forward, aligning knees, hips, shoulders, and ears. Chakra Vakasana, forward and back. So you're welcome to continue in this way. A little bit more engagement would be making that same movement from dog pose to straight arm plank. So I'll leave it up to you, either from knees or from feet. Chakra Vakasana or dog pose to straight arm plank. All right. Coming back to hands and knees. Stepping forward, forward. Fold. Let's inhale, sweep all the way up. Then for the floor, one more sun salutation. Inhale up, exhale, fold, bit of inhale, upside down, exhale, coming to hands and knees. Let's right away find downward facing dog. And then coming forward either to knees or from your feet to straight arm plank and just a little bit of a lowering down, maybe a third of the way, maybe halfway. Glacially slow down. Same thing, glacially slow. All right, coming to hands and coming seated. So coming seated with toes pointed up, ankles at a bit of an angle and knees at a bit of an angle. And then grabbing in behind your thighs, behind your knees. And gradually walking your hands down the back of your leg and releasing down back, beginning to engage abdominal strength and walking hands back up, pulling on the back of your legs to come up. Now, so this particular movement is kind of unique in a way in that you can adjust. You are in control of how much strength engagement you want to try. And the way you do that is feet could be out a little farther, not so much strength engagement, or feet could be in a little bit closer, a little bit more strength engagement. So let's go down one more time. You're in control of how much engagement you would like. Coming all the way onto your back. And then bring it knees over hips, elbows over shoulders. And then it's taken left hand, right foot up to the ceiling together and bringing them back down. Then it's switching to the other side, right hand, left leg. So, contralateral movement, cross consciousness. Right hand goes up, left side of the brain's working. Left foot goes up, right side of the brain is working. Asking both sides to play nice together. All right. Let's bring hands and feet up to the ceiling. And then it's left arm out to the side, right leg out to the side. But that leg only going so far as hips can stay more or less stable on the ground. Hips start to rock, then bringing the leg back up. And now it's the opposite side. Right arm, left leg. So leg probably won't go all the way to the floor if you're honest about not letting hips tip. Find the tipping point and come back up. Tipping point. Most useful place to cultivate our intention, strength. All right. Next time, hands and feet are up to the ceiling. Pausing there, we'll take left hand overhead behind right leg towards the floor. So then switching to the other side. Right arm, left leg. Don't worry, we're almost done. Both arms back overhead, both legs approaching the floor. Maybe they go not so much out of vertical, holding for just a breath. Moment of truth. With jaws gripping, just breathing through your mouth for a moment and bringing everything down. All right. Then it's rocking your lower back, your hips. Remember that movement we started way back when? Same thing right here. So it's hips tipping back brings lower back to the floor. Hips tipping forward brings lower back up towards the ceiling. It's that same movement. So it's exhale, lower back rolling into the floor. Inhale, lower back up to the ceiling. Same thing. Next time, lower back rolls into the floor on the exhale. Follow that inclination, hips coming up to the ceiling. All the way up. And then rolling right back on down. All right. Arms reaching up to the ceiling. Palms facing each other. And then that's exhale, lower back to the floor. Hips up to the ceiling. Noticing how that place between the shoulder blades is grounded in. And now doing some arm circles, but this time a little different. Really big arm circles from all the way straight up to all the way brushing the floor. Coming back up. Big arm circles. Going in the other direction. Just a couple. Feeling that grounding between the shoulder blades and movement of the shoulder blades. Next time, arms are up overhead, up to the ceiling, pausing there, and then taking them overhead, thumbs to the floor. And now, using abdominal strength to draw front of your hips towards your rib cage. Then invite spine to come down to the floor, one vertebra at a time. Along the way, arms come up, hips come down. All right. So, arms still reaching up to the ceiling. Exhale, lower back to the floor, hips up to the ceiling. And a couple of those big arm circles again. Maybe just two in each direction. Big circles, arms sweeping the floor. Next time those arms sweep out, they're straight out to the side, just off or touching the floor, drawing shoulder blades together underneath. And then bringing those arms to a goalpost position. Remember this. Yeah, tipping the goalpost backwards, elbows on the floor. Back of the hand pressing down, forearm pressing down. There you go. And then sliding those arms up along the floor, palms to the ceiling. And here's that strength engagement in the abdomen. Front of the hips towards your rib cage. Exhale. To invite the spine to come on down, arms to come up. All right. Okay. Rolling to one side, coming up seated. So I happen to have a block here, but block is not necessary. Block is for my own benefit. So I feel a little bit less like a cheerleader, but similar to that form we had before. Knees bent, heels on the floor, toes towards the ceiling. And then it could either be just hands on one side, or you could grab the block. And then on an inhale, let's bring in the block up and over to the other side. So you're welcome to continue in this way. A little bit more challenge would be bringing soles of the feet to the floor, keeping those toes on the floor. Yeah. You could continue in this way. Even more challenge would be, rather than block out here, block up a little bit higher. Our movement more overhead invites a little bit more engagement. You can experiment. You're in control of how much engagement you want to invite. All right. Setting the block aside if you're using one. And now it's hands behind the thighs. And these feet can release. We'll just lean back a bit. And this is where you can stay in this position, or you could release your hands. Yeah, Navasana. Good old boat pose. Guess what? Boat may be on the water. There may be a few waves. Yeah, legs could go out, trunk come back. Right in the waves. All right. Coming up back to seated. So that particular over and back movement engaged a specific set of strength from flank muscles, oblique muscles. Let's engage them again in a more direct way. So coming onto your side with knees bent at a 90-degree angle, and then finding that left elbow right under your shoulder, hand on hip. And now on an inhale, lifting your hips to the count of 1, 2, 3, and descending. 3, 2, 1. Tap and lift. 2, 3, down, 2. You're welcome to continue in this way. More engagement, of course, would be from your feet. Would be lift, 2, 3, down, 2, 3. Just one more lift. Lift, 2, 3. Pause and stay. 2, 3. Down, 2, 3. All right. Building strength. Going to the other side. So elbow side plank. Yeah, knees can begin folded so that your pivot point is at your knees. Or you could start right away, feet straight out, but make sure that that supporting elbow is right under your shoulder. And then it's lift, 2, 3, descend, 2, 3. Lift, 2, 3, slow, 2, 3. Tap and lift, 2, 3. Holding, 2, 3, and down, 2, 3. All right. Coming to hands and knees. Let's find downward facing dog. So either on the floor or at the chair. And then it would be just coming to hands and knees, stepping forward, forward, fold. Or of course, if you're at the chair, you just step forward. Bit of a lift, inhale, upside down. Exhale, swooping all the way up. All right. Setting the block aside for now. Let's see here. Just checking my notes, making sure. Yes. Let's take a wide stride with toes slightly pointed out. And how about hands at heart? Just fingertips together. Remember that toe wave we did earlier? So invite you to do that right here. And of course, if it helps you to do the same movement with your fingers, you're welcome to do that as well. And sometimes moving fingers is a complement to that same wave movement with your toes. Having brought some awareness to your forefoot, again, bringing a little bit more support there. So 60% support in the forefoot, somewhat less in the heel. All right. And then with heels light, bringing knees forward, seat back to come on down. Keeping those heels light as you come back up. Yeah, so many, many ways to study this particular movement. One that we haven't done for a while. Next time you exhale, coming down with heels light, pausing there, and then lifting the heel of your right foot, right heel lifting. Keeping that right heel lifted, left heel lifting. Now keeping left heel lifted, right heel descends to the floor. 3, 2, 1. Tap and lift. Right heel stays lifted, left heel down. 2, 3. Tap and lift. And now both heels descending, slow, smooth, and strong. 3, 2, 1. Heels staying light as you inhale to come up. Heels staying light as you exhale to come back down one more time, last time. And then it's straightening your left leg. And then switching that, straightening your right leg. Noticing along the way how support shifts between the two legs. But is that sensation isolated in your feet? Or could you also feel it in knees and hips? So one leg straightens the other leg, takes more support in not just foot, but knee and hip. And then somewhere in the transition, support is about equal. But perhaps not just in the foot, but in knees and hips as well. What about hips? Where's that equal support in hips as you transition one side to the other? Not having to stop there, just noticing One more time across. And then we will find that equal support. And pause there. Heels stay light as you press down to come up. Stepping feet together. All right. Let's see here. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. If I did, we can revisit. All right. Let's inhale, sweep up. Exhale, fold. Bit of a lift, inhale, upside down. Exhale, and sweeping all the way back up. So taking that wide stride one more time. Right toes turn in, left toes turn out. And then on that left leg, left foot, forward foot, bringing the knee forward and lifting the heel on that forward foot. And then straightening your leg, lifting the toes. So kind of rocking that foot forward and back as knee goes forward and leg straightens. The next time you come up, leg is straight, noticing how more support lands in the heel of that forward foot, left foot. Without looking at that leg or foot, bring the knee forward until support is about equal between heel and forefoot. Somewhere in the middle, support about equal. And then bringing that same sense of equal support now to the back foot, right foot. And not just front to back, but side to side as well. All right. Bringing hands to heart, lifting elbows, separating your hands, and turning to look over that left arm. Yeah. How's your support right here? How's that foundation doing? So strength, yes, but from a place of stability, a foundation. And then it's pressing down to come up, going to the other side. Right toes turn in, left toes turn in, right toes turn out. And we'll do that same sequence on this side as the right knee comes forward, heel lifts. And as the right knee straightens, toes lift. So that rocking of the forward foot, right foot. And then next time, knee comes straight, leg comes straight, noticing the support landing more towards your heel. And without looking at that leg, beginning to bring the knee forward just to the place where support's about equal. Sometimes you have to go past that point and come back to it. Once you've found that equal support in the front foot, right foot, bringing that same awareness to the back foot, and not just forefoot to heel, but side to side as well. Whole foot on the floor, all 10 toes. Yeah, lifting your elbows, separating your hands, looking out over that right arm. Checking your foundation. Just another breath here, pressing down to come up, stepping feet together. And we'll go right away to another form and movement. And that's going to be with hands at heart, stepping back with your left leg stepping back. And then something a little different, something we haven't done for a while. If you're okay with it, just placing your hands on your abdomen below your knee. And then it's just bringing that forward leg, the knee forward, right knee coming forward and back. And checking in right here where your hands are, below your hands. How much strength engagement is there in that core area? When knee goes forward and back. Maybe some. maybe almost none. See what's true for you. And then next time, knee comes straight, pausing there. And now rather than moving from front leg, right leg, knee, moving from your back foot, but first making sure that back foot, left foot is more or less pointed straight forward. And then from the back foot, forefoot pressing down to bring forward. And now back leg all the way straight, heel reaching for the floor to come up. So from the back foot, forefoot pressing forward. Back leg all the way straight, heel reaching to come. What if any strength engagement is invited under your hands in the core? Maybe some. Maybe just a hint, maybe a definite engagement. All right. Now, rather than moving from your back foot only, see if you can move from that place below your hands. That lower belly area drawing forward as forefoot presses down. Lower belly drawing back as heel descends. So again, there you go. And that intention alone may invite a little bit more engagement. All right, next time you're forward, pausing there. And then lifting the front of your hips up towards the ceiling out of that lift. Straight leg behind, heel descends to the floor. Arms reaching forward and up. And a little bit of a gaze up to the ceiling. How's your foundation? Just checking. Hands to heart, inclining your torso. Support now in the front leg, but not just the foot. How about hip and knee as well? To suspend that back foot for just a moment. Maybe even bringing it forward and up. Let's go to the other side. So now it's stepping back with your, you know what, I'm going to face the same way. Stepping back with your left leg. And we'll go right away, perhaps to hands on your lower abdomen, if you found that useful. If not, hands at heart will do just as well. And moving from the back foot, forefoot pressing down, and back leg all the way straight, heel reaching for the floor. And see what, if any, core engagement there might be. Not saying that there should be. Of course, you can make that happen. Let's see what's inviting. Next time you come straight, pausing there. And even if there was just a hint of core strength engagement below your navel, see if that part can accompany the movement of the back foot. Back heel lifting, forefoot pressing down. And core moving forward, core drawing back. So as the back foot is the spark for this engine, some of that engagement could be in core as well. Next time you come forward, pausing there. And then lifting front of the hips up out of that lift, back heel descends down. Arms reaching and then lifting. And a bit of a look up. Checking your foundation. Bringing hands to heart, inclining your torso, supporting in the front leg to suspend the back foot. Come all the way up in front. All right. So we've got a little bit more to do with arms So either a yoga strap, I happen to have a silicone band here as well. I'm going to use the band. But we're going to grab the band, the belt, the bathrobe tie, with palms up, thumbs out to the side, and in a particular way. Rather than grabbing with your whole hand, let your thumb and index finger just release, come along for the ride. So you're only gripping with middle finger, ring finger, little finger. And so grabbing that band about shoulder width apart. And now rather than pulling with your hands, elbows moving out to the side, elbows moving out to the side. And then like you were doing some bicep curls, hands up and down. And rather than gripping so much, pulling so much with your hands, holding the strap, the band just tight enough that it won't slip. Elbows moving out to the side. Next time you come to the curl position, then we'll bring elbows up to shoulder height. So a little bit harder to keep the intention in the elbows. The next time arms are up at shoulder height, then bringing them out straight forward. So again, it's not so much about hands gripping and pulling. Hands just there to hold the strap, the band. Next time elbows come in, we'll bring them up overhead and extend the arms all the way up overhead just a couple times. And then bringing them back to shoulder height, forward once again, and then down to hips, all the way down. Let go of the strap, the band, standing for a moment. Checking in with this posture. So not only checking how the chest may be responding to that movement, but how about your foundation? What's the foundation feel like? Way down there in the feet, through the knees and hips. Well, let's head for the floor. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, folding. Bit of a lift, inhale, upside down. Exhale, coming down. Knees. And let's see here. Just checking the time. How about from hands and knees, bringing either hands forward or knees back a bit so that when seat comes all the way back, arms are fully extended. And then rotating your arms so that palms face the ceiling, elbows face the floor. Walking those arms off to the right. Right side tipping and turning your gaze to look over the top of that right arm, over the bicep. So head, neck, torso, and hips are all in a line. Going to the other side. So now walking hands off to the left and turning to look left. And then bringing arms forward and bringing elbows to the floor. Palms are still to the ceiling. Now, the elbows on the floor, see if you can turn your palms over and then bring your support more, shoulders more over your elbows. And then lifting and lowering those elbows a few times. Elbows drawing in towards each other to keep collarbones, front of the chest open. Next time elbows come down to the floor, let them rest all the way down on the floor. Support through the elbows and forearms. Curling your toes up, bringing hips up and back. Elbow, dog pose. Yeah. Primarily here to engage upper back muscles. Well, let's not overdo it. Come back down to knees. And then straightening your arms, regular dog, downward facing dog, arms extended. Back to the floor, all the way down to a prone position. Knees out, legs out behind and legs rotated so that heels are facing each other. They don't have to be touching, but if you could bring them just lightly together, noticing how that creates a foundation. And then with hands back by your rib cage, forearms more or less perpendicular to the floor, then drawing elbows down towards your feet, keeping that engagement in tension as you now bring elbows up towards the ceiling, keeping that in tension as you also bring elbows out to the side just a bit, and pressing hands down lightly. 3 pounds maybe in each hand, pressing down. And on an inhale, lifting torso, neck, and head. Exhale, calm and back on down. So if elbows can draw towards your feet, and then the ceiling, and then out to the side, and a little bit of weight in the hands. Notice how that brings shoulder blades onto your back. Shoulder blades on your back, reaching those hands back towards your feet, palms to the ceiling, and then lifting arms up to the ceiling. Tapping fingernails down, maybe just 3 times. All right. And then bringing arms to a goal post position. We've been here before, haven't we? And then as the forearm back of the hand lifts, elbow stays down and invites chest and head to lift as well. And then coming back on down, bringing arms back into that original position. Elbows drawn towards your feet, and then up to the ceiling, out to the side, hands pressing down. And now with hands lightly pressing down, lifting torso, neck, and head. Staying right here. Or you could reach hands back towards your feet and begin to lighten those straight legs. Straight legs getting lighter. All right. Bringing hands back. Stacking your hands, resting your forehead. Letting your legs rest as well. And then pushing up the hands and knees all the way back to child's pose. Coming back to hands and knees. And we'll come to standing on your knees. And of course, if you're of the group that needs to use the chair rather than be on your knees, chair standing is an option here as well. Bringing fists rather than to lower back, just behind the center line of your hips. And then it's top of the feet pressing down. And breast motion and gaze lifting. Checking in with the range of motion. And calming back on down. So those of you who have had to stand, my apologies, you'll have to come to the floor all the way onto your back. Knees bent and arms reaching up to the ceiling. Arms reaching up to the ceiling. We'll just do one light bridge pose. Lower back rolling into the floor. Hips coming up. Feeling that place between the shoulders. And then rolling hips back on down. Bringing arms to the floor. So this next movement, next form, kind of a 21st century fish pose. That place between your shoulder blades. See if that can press into the floor and bring neck vertebra back of the head along with it. Inhale as you press all of that into the floor. Exhale, release. So starting between your shoulder blades and moving up to the back of your head. It's inhale, pressing. Exhale, release. Just one more time. Sometimes this is called empowered breathing. So really let it be a big breath. Pressing. Big inhale. Exhale. Coming back. Rolling to one side. Coming back to standing on your knees. Hands just behind the center line of your hips. Top of the feet pressing down. As hips stabilize from top of the feet pressing down, it's breastbone, chin, and gaze. Holy cats, what just happened? Perhaps a little bit more range of motion, having engaged those muscles along your spine. Back muscle engagement. Exhale, coming on out. All right. Coming seated. With feet fairly wide. Almost as wide as your mat. At least as wide, if not a little bit wider than your shoulders. And then it's left arm reaching forward, right arm reaching back. And sweeping your arm, tipping your knees to come around to a very smooth and free twist. And inhale, coming back. Keeping that left arm forward, right arm back. This time, rather than sweeping your arm or tipping your knees, see if you can push with your feet pushing knees over to the side, letting that bring the arm around with it. Keep those feet pressing down even as you come all the way. Noticing what, if any, strength engagement has been invited. Now to come out, same thing, feet pressing down, feet pressing. Lift the knees. Let's go to the other side. So it's right arm forward, left arm comes behind. And we start with just that free and easy movement. Arm sweep at knees, tip and come around. Not much, if any, core strength engagement. And knees lifting, arm sweeping to come out. And now, this time, pressing with your feet pressing to the side, to tip knees to the side. Feet engaged to the floor as you come around. Keeping that feet pressing down as you lift your knees, knees lifting from the feet pressing to come out, up. All right. And then we'll just come to an ordinary cross-legged seated position. Bringing left hand to right knee, right hand comes behind. And a little bit of a turn to the right. Checking range of motion. And on an exhale, coming on out. And then it's right hand to the floor. Left arm sweeping up and over. Side tipping to the right. Turning to look at the floor at that outstretched right hand and arm. Full deep inhale, long inhale into that ceiling side. This becomes more of a comma shape than an exclamation point. And let's inhale to come up and out. And then it's right hand to left, left hand to right knee. We're going to turn the same way we just did. Left hand to right knee, right hand comes behind. And check in range of motion. Having done that, a little bit of a sight. See what's true for you. Exhale, coming on up. And then it's right hand to left knee. Left hand comes behind. A little bit of a turn, checking range of motion. So checking range of motion means you find that first layer of resistance. Grabbing and pulling, just finding range of motion. Coming on out. Left hand to the side, right arm up and over. Yep, side tipping. And keeping your head and neck aligned with your torso. And the temptation often here is to kind of lean back a bit, see if you can stay a bit more upright. Long breath into those ceiling side ribs. And exhale, coming out. Right hand to left knee, left hand comes behind. Rotating to now the first layer of resistance. See if it has shifted at all. Exhale, coming on out. And heading onto our back. And you're free to keep knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, or you could have legs straight out, whichever you find more useful right now. Little bit of a intentional breathing practice. First, just noticing when air comes in through your nose. Does it more or less slide along the roof of your mouth into your chest, front of your chest? Chest lifting towards the ceiling. Now that's not wrong. Let's see if we can shift that just a bit. Air coming in through your nose, let it land heavy on your tongue. Glide down the back of your windpipe, that place between the shoulder blades. Leave from that same place, between the shoulder blades, back of the throat, heavy on your tongue. Perhaps you've already noticed. Air comes in and is heavy on your tongue. Invites jaw to release, perhaps a bit of space between the teeth. And bringing awareness to that place between the shoulder blades, place we've worked with all practice right from the beginning. Checking your foundation. Yeah, how's this connection to the earth feel? Letting that special breathing fade away. No special breathing. Special breathing intention sometimes brings a little bit of other engagements along with it. So release it so that those other engagements, they may release as well. It's in hips or legs, lower back, wherever it might be. Nothing special to do right now for the next 20 seconds. All right. Drawing your next inhale little bit longer, maybe even into the upper back. Letting your eyes open. Full, complete exhale. First transition is if legs are straight, drawing your knees in. And then it's just rolling to one side, coming seated. We'll wait for everyone to come seated. And then take a collective inhale. And exhale, hands to heart. Namaste. Thank you for practicing.